Hi, welcome back to another episode of Thinking Inside the Box on Noah's Ark. Today we're going to talk about how to recreate the distorted vocal sound effect in the DAW. So there are several ways we can go about this. You can either send the vocal signal through a real guitar amp and reamp that signal and capture the output with a microphone. Or we can use a distortion plugin such as the SANSAMP PSA1 on a vocal track in the DAW. So if you want to experiment with the reamping technique but you're unsure how to do this, I've made a previous video explaining that in detail. So I suggest you check that video out. So now let's jump into Pro Tools and see how we can recreate that distorted vocal effect in the box. Okay, so I have an old session of mine from my first album, and I think I've opened this one previously in another video for Leslie vocals. And if you're interested in doing some of that kind of effect, I suggest you check that video out. And the Leslie sound is going to be a little different because it gives kind of like this wobbly, fragile sound versus the distortion gives more of a crunchy, dirty sound, which is what we're going to look today. So it's pretty easy to do distortion vocal effect. Just snap any kind of like distortion plugin on the vocal track and then you're pretty much good to go. So in this case I've used the PSA1 SansAmp, and this is a pretty famous amp simulator and distortion pedal that's made into a plugin, and this is free. It comes with Pro Tools for free. And what I did is from the initial settings I added more of that amp signal rather than the pre in this knob. Removed some of the buzz and some of the crunch because it didn't really work with the vocals in this case. Added some punch and drive, and I think that kind of like shaped the vocal sound into a better direction. And obviously you can level match, and I think it gave a pretty good vocal sound. So let's first hear a part that doesn't have a distortion added to the vocal. So it's in the chorus, it's going to be cleaner. So it sounds like this. What should I do after life? Who knows? And if you compare that vocal sound to the verse, which has the distortion plugin engaged, it sounds like this. So you can hear that it's kind of filtered, it's more compressed and dirtier, and it gives a different vibe, which is exactly what I wanted in this section. So basically, in the verse, it's distorted. In the chorus, it kind of opens up into a new dimension without the distortion. So if you hear the transition, it sounds like this. Shape made in black. What should I do after life? Who knows? So it's a great way to kind of have that contrasting, vocal sounds in different sections to create a more dramatic effect when you change, from verse or chorus, for example. And yeah, that's about it. It's pretty simple. Obviously, you can experiment with other distortion plugins and even, tape machines. I suggest you try overloading kind of tape machines, plugins, or even preamps, and that's going to give kind of a different sound than a distortion plugin. So experiment with different vocal sounds and let me know which one works better for your tracks and why you chose that technique rather than another one. So yeah, I hope you're going to have fun with distorted vocals. So that's it. I hope you liked this video about distorted vocal effects. And if you want to experiment with other vocal effects, I suggest you check the Leslie vocal video out, where I use a rotating speaker cabinet emulation to recreate a Leslie type of effect on a vocal. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you next time. Why did I feel